So today is going to be a little bit of a weird oddity. We're going to the wild and wacky world of Transformers Cybertron. Now we all know that I'm not a fan of the Unicron trilogy. However, I do respect the fact that a lot of great designs came out of that era. Specifically, the Energon segment. I would say Armada was a little iffy. I would say Energon was a little iffy. But man, there was a lot of really fantastic designs that came from Transformers Cybertron, one of which is this Galvatron, the most Megatron looking Galvatron I've ever seen. But I've only ever heard absolutely stellar things about this mold. Is it true? Does it live up to the hype? We're about to find out in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share. Of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton and lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below, and also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is, as I said, the most Megatron looking Galvatron I've ever seen. I've heard that the Galvatron color scheme is actually based on G1 Megatron, and that the Megatron color scheme is inspired by G1 Galvatron. So I've heard that they are intentionally reversed. I don't know if that's just, hearsay and conjecture, or if there's any truth to it, to be honest with you. Nevertheless, I've never ever had a chance to look at this. I want to thank Maximal 10 for lending this to me. I can't wait to take a look at this. I've heard that the robot mode is splendid. I've heard the articulation is splendid. I've heard the transformation is excellent. And I've heard that he technically has 3 modes. A whole lot to explore. So without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. So I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty excited to look at this guy. I don't own him. This is on loan from Maximal 10, of course, but I've only in my life heard amazing things about this mold. Funny enough, I've heard amazing things about the Megatron version of the mold and that coloration. Not this one as much, but it's the exact same mold, so you know what, why not take a look at Galvatron here. Very G1 Megatron inspired deco, and apparently that was deliberate. In terms of, I guess, accuracy to the cartoon, arguably the orange that's used on him should probably be more red, but that's about it. Otherwise, this is pretty darn close on perfect, enough that I'm going to give it a 10. It might be a 9.5, it might be a 9.75, but I'm going to give it a 10. I'm in a good mood. I'm going to give it a 10. And there's so much beautiful gold on this guy. Great, great, great start. Let's do the articulation for the guy as well. So, where do I even begin here? Okay, so the head goes a little left and right. Not a ton, but a little left and right. It can go back a bit because of transformation. So not a ton of movement at the head, but some. These pieces here can move up and out of the way. Like, they can get up here out of the way. They can fold back out of the way. They're not a hindrance to the arm, is my point. Speaking of the arms, they can go well out to the side. Ooh, hold on. Well out to the side, we have a double elbow, which gets us the full range of motion we could want. We have a bicep swivel. We have a wrist rotation. We have a waist wiggle, but I'm going to give it to him, even though the backpack is down there. Shoulder can go all the way around. I don't think I said that, but it can go all the way around for sure. And of course, arm out to the side. Not all the way, but certainly all you're going to need. Leg forward, and listen to the ratchets too. Right, ratchets on the leg, so leg forward. Not much leg back because of the backpack, but getting that up. Leg all the way to the side, thigh swivel, just shy of 90 degrees at the knee, but darn close. And we even get ankle tilt Very important, if you want stability on this guy, you have to click his ankles forward. Otherwise, he's going to want to fall back. But if you click his ankles forward, he's great. I do find that a lot of the times the two pegs that hold the chest into the back, I find I pull that out, but I don't even call that a flaw for two reasons. One, it's my own fault pulling it out. Two, they both go back in no problem whatsoever. I'm going to say for the articulation, I wish the head had just a little bit more, but outside of that, I'm going to say the articulation is, honestly, and I wish the waist had a little bit more. I'm going to say like a 9.8 though. Like it's not quite perfect, but it's pretty darn close. Same with the arms going out. Like I wish they could just go out just a touch more to get a full right on T-post. But man, what it does so incredibly, amazingly well. So yeah, we're going to say that right now the guy's getting like a 9.9. Like it's almost perfect. We will do the transformation, which luckily is shown quite clearly on this big sheet of instructions, which I really like. It's double-sided and shows all the accessory and the Cyber Planet key and everything else. Speaking of the Cyber Planet key, this looks very ominous, really cool. My understanding is this is the only key that actually looks like this. And not only does it have a Decepticon logo on it, but even the top of it is all crested like the Decepticon logo. Very unique Cyber Planet key. Which frankly brings us to the back of our guy. I tend to just leave the key here, but if you push it in all the way, you will make these two pop down. We'll talk about that when we get to vehicle mode. But that's not the only place where you can put a Cyber Planet key here. You can also put it here on the side, and it pops this out, which, I mean, you could just leave it with its little spikies, or you could, I believe, yeah, put it in his hand. You can take this one out of here. And you can also go over here. Minicon port here, by the way. I don't think they do anything, though. And you can put it in there, and it pops this out. And when it pops this out, you can take this whole front tire. I guess close this back up. This whole front tire and open it out straight to be another type of blaster accessory thing. And that can go right in the hand and give our boy here two big old bad blasters. Very cool. Very, very cool. Not for nothing, but this was labeled as leader class. Leader class. And at the time, back in 2005, some 19 years ago, this guy clocked in at 641 grams. Funny enough, 600 to 650 grams of plastic nowadays is what we call commander class. So you want to talk about changing size classes. You want to talk about getting a little less for your buying dollar over time. This is what happens. This was what leader class is. Nowadays, though, leader class is something like Studio Series Scourge and Studio Series 86 Grimlock. Grimlock is a true blue, what I call a modern day true blue leader. He's like, with wheelie involved, he's like 328 grams. Modern day leader, I often say, is 325. You know, this guy over here, bit lighter, and I'm sorry, but there's no more parts count or complexity here than it is here. This guy here has no hollow parts, pure solid, 641 grams, and over time, I guess people have just accepted less for more. It's a trend that we as fans really got to try and get away from. We got to really start holding this company accountable to us, the consumer. But that's a whole other debate for another time. The accessories, tremendous. The incorporation of the Cyber Planet key, excellent. Really, really, really excellent so far at a 9.9. I'm just going to get our boy set up here with his two accessories put back, and then we'll do the transformation. All right, I think that we're ready to go. We have the Cyber Planet key laid back here. We have these two pieces put back in. This one's a little bit of a pain. You got to close the three blades and then fit the 5mm peg into a port that's in here. Over here, it's a little easier to fit the peg into the port. As a matter of fact, you probably see here, this peg here, I think. Not sure. Anyway, it goes back in and it fits nicely and cleanly, and I'm happy with it. Let's do the transformation so that we can get out of here. I'm going to begin by bringing this piece down over and bringing this piece down over. I'm not even going to worry too much about turning those right now. We'll get to that in just a little bit. We're going to lift off the chest. It pegs in with two red circular pegs here that go into the torso there. We're going to open out these black pieces here. I'm also going to pull down this section here and fold in those head crests, and then we're going to bring all of this up and over, I believe, like that. There. So we got all of that brought up over. Now we're going to angle up, actually, because we got to bring the arms up, and I want you to be able to see it. So hold on, I'm just going to adjust the camera ever so slightly. Okay, so now that we're here, we're going to fold in that shoulder and turn this arm and angle it kind of thusly. And we're going to fold in this shoulder and angle the arm the same way. And then we're going to peg these together up at the very tip of the nose. We have two pegs and two ports. And all of this can push together down there ever so nicely. Wonderful. That's kind of the, I'll call it the nose cone of the jet done, basically. But now we have to deal with the lower body. And what's the best way to do that? I guess we'll adjust the camera once again. Okay, so now we can deal with the lower body, which is actually pretty easy. So we take the legs out to the side, we take this whole hip piece and bring it all the way up and over. Then we can pick these sections off and open them out. Pick this foot off, open it out. You also heard a little crack there, and you heard one there. That's me bringing the foot back so that we actually have the spoiler piece, I suppose you could say. Then using this peg here, or if I turn this peg here, that'll go into these ports here on the side where my pinky is and where my thumb is. So we go like this, we bring it down, it goes in on the side, we bring this one down and bend at the knee, and it goes in on the side. Now, this is where things get very interesting as far as I'm concerned anyway. Oh, let me make sure I got that one in. I got both of those in, right? We can bring this up over. Now this here is often left down. I tend to fold it in like this just so it's a little more out of the way. Same here. I tend to fold those in. In fact, I lift these all the way up and I fold them in this way, but I'm not sure exactly what the official transformation says to do. I will also note that at this point we can deal with kind of these sections here too. So there's two things and two ways to deal with these sections. One, you push that black piece forward. Two, if you want to do the plain mode, then you're going to take the pegs that's in here and it's going to come back and go into the centerpiece of the tire here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I need to actually bring that back this time, I believe. Hold on. Let me get myself oriented here. I know what you're thinking. GotBot, what kind of a mess is this? You just made a cut. Normally when you come back from that, things are cleaner. But I'm doing this because I made a boo-boo when I was doing the transformation. I forgot to rotate this armature down, which means this leg needed to come unpegged from here, and I had to move the thigh a little bit so that I can angle this down. Now, with that rotated all the way down, now I can bring this leg back up and angle it back in so that I can peg it back in that hole. This one has come unpegged from the hole. There you go, peg that in. And now I can take this, which in a moment will come up here to form the car, but for now I can take this and bring it back, and using this peg it'll go into the center of this tire. Like that, and you can adjust these, I guess, however it is you want to adjust them to be like tail fin sections. I do wish that the whole front section here tabbed in a little more, take this out of it, tabbed in a little more securely up here. I feel like the two pegs and the two slots up here are a little bit loose, but I attribute that to like over time. In terms of what this can do here, when you push it in, it makes these two engine pieces pop up, and you can move them around and stuff a bit, and they make a little bit of noise and stuff. If you want to fire these two missiles, use the orange tabs back here. They're quite spring-loaded, and they will most definitely fire. Now, the last part of the transformation, I'm sorry I messed up this part, but I did forget to move this hinge. My mistake. The last part of the transformation unpegs these and brings the whole piece forward. And now using the peg on the inside, it goes, using this peg here on the inside, it goes into this slot up here on the arm. So we'll bring this around. We're going to bring this one up as well. And I'll also note that you'll notice there's a little nub here. There's a little section right here that goes over that nub. So put the nub over, then slot that into the arm and rotate that piece around. Do the same thing over here. You're going to take that little nub piece and you're going to put it into a hole that's right here. Man, it's so hard to show this. There's a hole right here on the armature that goes over this little nub right here. We'll do that. And again, as we do that, this peg here will go into the slot on the arm. And then we're going to rotate this around. And once we have all of this in and slotted in and pegged in and poked in and everything else done with it, we should be able to bring both of these pieces together. I gotta make sure I got everything pegged in here because I'm popping stuff. Okay, and just to finish things off, we open up those two wings, I guess, up there. And these pieces here at the very front that were tail fins, they rotate all the way around. And same with this one, rotates all the way around. And then these tab together to become like the, I'm gonna call it the front bumper. And in the end, boom, here we have Galvatron in his roadster mode. And boy, oh boy, is this thing wicked. And that's the only way I can describe it. It is wicked looking, very vicious looking, very imposing. Sly or rolls very well, really well. I might have a couple of things not quite lined up, but man, oh man, or not quite squared up, but man, oh man, generally rolls very well. Despite me forgetting to rotate this hinge here down before tabbing the legs in, despite that, the transformation here is an easy 10. This was a 9.9, a 10 for the transformation. This is like a 9.99. This is about as perfect of a transformer as you could hope for in terms of animation accuracy, in terms of articulation, in terms of build quality, and in terms of transformation. I'm not a Unicron Trilogy guy, as we all know, but I cannot deny how absolutely fantastic the Cybertron Megatron / Galvatron mold really is. And here we are once again, and here he is, and boy, oh boy, the hype is absolutely real. I can't believe that this is a leader class. How times have changed. You also see now why I really harp on things like size and mass and getting your money's worth. Because when we don't pay attention to those things get smaller, things get cheaper, but they also get sold for more expensive. Keep that in mind, I'm just saying. But as a Transformer, this is quite excellent. As a robot, it has all of the articulation that you could really want, right down to even an ankle tilt. And even the waist. Like, I know that there's a backpack here, but he doesn't get a waist wiggle. And I suppose if you really wanted to, I don't know, bend him forward or something, maybe you'd get a little more. I get that it's for transformation, but you're able to do a little something something with it for sure. And I just unpegged all of this now. Put that peg in. And that peg's already in. He has a backpack, but it's not egregious in the least. These move out of the way, no problem, to give you great arm movement. And even when they're down against his back, they look great. The roadster mode, I'm going to call it, the car mode, whatever you want to call it, like, it looks ferocious. It looks chunky. It looks solid, and it is, and it rolls like a champion. Then we have the plane mode, which I think is really good. If I was to pick out only one, and I'm going to call it a weakness for lack of a better term, it's when the chest connects after you fold it up into right there. I do find that on this copy, I guess over time, these pegs pegging into these slots back here is, I don't want to say loose, but it's very easy to unpeg. I don't think that that is a design flaw or anything like that. I think it's just, this thing is 20-ish years old. It's just one of those things that happens after time. And truthfully, it still connects and hooks in just fine. This was splendid at the time. This is splendid now. All of the plastic feels robust and chunky. Man, oh man. When we had things that were made not only to last, but made with pride, made with giving fans, you and me, the absolute best bang for our buck. And this guy, whether you have the Megatron iteration or the Galvatron iteration, really stands the test of time and could hold up against any offering of the modern era. This is one of those cases where I don't really think it needs to be updated, because any update just plain won't do it as well. Let me know what you think about the original Cybertron Galvatron, or Megatron for that matter. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button please, and thank you. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.